crypto and fiat payments for the gaming sector.
Also, please welcome on stage Vytautas Karalevicius, co-founder at Bankera. Please give him a big hand. Maybe Vytautas will join us shortly. Also, please welcome on the stage Dave Pulis, founder and CEO at ZBX. Give him a big hand. Be louder, please. Daniel Santos, CEO at GAMEPAY. I hope that he will join us shortly on stage. If not, also please welcome on stage Saitej Annareddy, co-founder and CEO at Coinovy. Saitej, he was actually here. In any case, I believe that some of our speakers will probably join fireside chat for the time of being. For the time being, let's make it fireside chat. I'm sure that some of the missing speakers there will be coming shortly. Thank you so much. Give them a big hand once again. And Simona, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much. Hello, everyone. So excited to be here. It's amazing how many we have gathered after such a long COVID period. So really, really grateful to be among you and looking forward to network and socialize with as many of you as possible. I'm really, really excited to have a dialogue here with Dave about crypto and fiat in the gaming industry. I think this is quite an important topic, especially as we see things developing in a decentralized and DeFi world. So David, do you want to introduce yourself first?
Sure. So 4 years ago, we launched an exchange regulated in Malta when Malta had the great idea to do the blockchain island. Since then, we've spent literally 4 years due to regulation building just the infrastructure. We thought it's very hard to compete with the big guys when it comes to Binance, OKX, and Coinbase to go for the retail. So we said, let's focus on building the infrastructure for the B2Bs and merchants and gaming companies so that we can enable them to offer crypto to retail, other businesses, and the end users. So that is basically what the concern was of ours.
And Vytautas, thank you so much for joining us.
Sorry for being late, I was on the panel.
No worries at all. We are just introducing ourselves first, so go ahead, introduce yourselves to the audience.
Okay, so I am Vytautas Karalevicius. I am co-founder of two fintech companies. One of them is Coin, which is a cryptocurrency exchange and more specifically cryptocurrency payment processing. And also I'm co-founder of Bankera, which is the more or less challenger bank. And from both of these businesses, we have entitled with gaming companies. So we see their needs and we see how instant payments we need. And also, in some cases, we see the other side of the business, actually the user, the player, and what actually are the needs for the payment account and payment channels.
Super. And just for everyone to know, again, my name is Simona, Vasile. I'm a tax partner with KPMG. I have operated in US, Oslo, Norway, Nordic countries mainly, as well as India and Romania. So I have a very vast global experience, which I think it's applicable for anything in this space, as we are no longer really local, but thinking global around those issues. And I support clients, both in the gaming industry as well as in other industries, to actually penetrate to all the DeFi aspects and how we can make it more available. And one big topic that I see for our clients is the notion of trust, right? So you are doing a lot of hoops and loops to make this operational, right? You need to go through KML and all the AML and KYC requirements. So how can we provide to the audience some insights from your perspective around how we can make crypto and fiat more operationally viable in the gaming space? Meaning, we notice that some assets can only be valued in one game or potentially in multiple games, right? But now with the upcoming metaverse craze, like how do we make this globally available? How can we make crypto and fiat in gamification operationally viable?
I can start. So actually, I more or less see two main options, like not two main options, but two main drive forces for the adoption of digital currencies for the gaming. So and they are both, let's say, kind of, one is especially related to the trust. Because what we perceived when we started to serve the gaming companies for processing, especially for crypto, that the players usually don't like to keep their money in the game operators because we usually don't trust them. They want to keep their money in their payment account, or in cryptocurrency, ideally, they can even withdraw to their own account, their private account. Because, for example, what happens even in traditional payment methods, some of the players, especially in Asia, they prefer to withdraw the funds at the end of the day after they stop playing and keep them in their bank account or payment account. And then next day, when they come back in for playing, they deposit again, and at the end of the day, at the end of session, let's say, they withdraw it. Crypto easily enables that to do it because it's instant. They can get the money, let's say, within a couple of seconds to their own account, and also they can manage their own keys. So one of the driving forces is actually not being able to easily withdraw and deposit money instantly to their gaming account, so you don't have to take the risk of the gaming operator. The next big thing is actually that you are able to play on different platforms, so you are able to easily transfer your play money, let's say your digital currency, from one operator to another operator, and they know that we don't have to have anything in common. We even don't have to have like the same payment network or payment operator network. For example, in the past days, Skrill or Neteller was used for that. So the players were withdrawing to Skrill and then depositing to another operator through Skrill. Now cryptocurrency opens actually even more doors because these gaming operators don't have to be clients of the same payment platform. So I think it's kind of the two main driving forces. Actually, one is not being supposed to keep their money on the operator, and the second one is actually being able to arbitrage or just to use another platforms and instantly withdraw and deposit money to each other without them having to have like any hassle.
Just to add on what the colleague was saying, one is we need to enable clients to be able to deposit immediately. Even if something doesn't settle, we have created also a system where we take the risk. So the moment they deposit, we accept the deposit. Same thing that we're doing with merchants at the shop. You don't want to spend 5 minutes to wait to buy a sandwich, obviously. Also, when you mentioned the metaverse or maybe gaming companies who might be on a different chain from one to the other, and you get a gaming client who wants to transfer his token from one company to the next, you have to have interoperability of chains as well. And there are projects out there, probably we might not mention names on stage, but which are working on the interoperability between tokens specifically for the gaming companies. This is something in the works that's coming in the next months and would probably be one of the most important things to hit the industry, because instead of having, say, gaming company A, gaming company B, gaming company C, all having their chains and working in a silo, we need to make it very easy with one ecosystem for clients to be able to go in the system. We need to make it easy to go in, we need to make it easy to go out, and we need to make it, same thing when you open a bank account. I'm giving you crypto, the gaming company wants the money to be had in, say, Fiat, and they would never touch crypto. We give that solution. Some companies want to be able to have, let's say, the USDT on their account. We also enable that. And most gaming companies do not want to stay dealing with crypto, going the ins and outs or doing the geeky stuff. That's why, I mean, we are there. So they want just a one front-end solution when everything happens on the background. But this is stuff that is happening now. Interoperability is not yet there, and it's happening in the next months with the first use cases. And also to make stuff flow much easier. Obviously, once we start integrating more and more companies, we find out ways where things are with better UI, better UX. But I think this is coming probably before the end of the year.
Wonderful. No, this is an amazing news, as this is a big growing pain, I would say, for the industry. The other thing I've noticed is that while the technology enables us to really make these things possible, right? In a couple of months, we can see things by the end of the year being able to potentially open up those doors. I feel like the regulators are still lagging behind, and some locations are better than the others, but a lot of them are really, really behind around us. Any challenges that you see in the speed and agility of putting this new metaverse infrastructure in place? as it relates to regulators and legislation?
I think like the regulators' challenge are even simpler, like even not too far. We are very far away to achieve like what the metaverse can cause as a regulatory issues, because as you said, like as many handling operators, we don't like to get the cryptocurrency pay in or pay out, and it's mainly not because of a business choice, but just because the regulation in general for gaming is that the money has to come from the account in the client's name, and it has to be paid back to the same account. And the cryptocurrency doesn't work in that way. Number one, usually the cryptocurrency accounts, we don't have like the beneficial owner's name attached to it. It's just like a public address. Now with travel rule, maybe it's going to be different, because with travel rule, the cryptocurrency exchanges, they have to pass forward the information about the owner of the account. So maybe it will be different also for gaming. And it's the same case about paying back, because we also have to know who is the owner of the account. And another issue, if you are using the cryptocurrency properly, you should never use the same address twice. That also means, in practice, from security perspective, it's infeasible to send the money back to the same account, because if you want to be completely secure, you don't have to use your private keys twice. So once you make a payment, you have to send the change to a new account, and you only receive, let's say, the withdrawals to your new account. You never receive the money to the account you have already made a payment out. So then it's also like not feasible for a gaming company, the gaming industry. And I think the next stage will be when you have like a different number of tokens. Then it's going to be like you're getting the payouts in different currencies, and it's going to be also like a different challenge for the operators. But what I actually think, I think like now we're in the stage when the blockchain is more or less for payments, and we're trying to solve a lot of things about payments. The next stage where we're going with Web3, more or less is going to be about smart contracts, but still it's very unfeasible because the transaction costs are very high. Even for payment, let's say you pay at least $2 for Ethereum, but when you want to make a smart contract transaction, for example, DeFi swap or something, it's going to be, in like tens of dollars at least. So if you're going to, but like what's going to be next, in my opinion, we will use the smart contracts also for the gaming. So we will get rid of the gaming operators who are centralized, and they're going to be decentralized, but that's probably going to be the future in the next 10 or 20 years. But we still have to solve the same technical bottlenecks as we had to solve for metaverse. Because for metaverse, for every, let's say, move or action in the metaverse, we have to process a number of smart contract transactions. And each of them will cost something. So we have to get the cost to very, very low. And once we do that, then we can also have like a casino in metaverse, or like a sports booking or video or slots machine in the metaverse. And then the gaming business also will change. Yeah. And then the regulation for decentralized gaming is going to be even more complex and more complicated. It's the same as you cannot regulate Bitcoin. And like if you have like a gaming operator implemented on the Bitcoin or Ethereum blockchain, how you can regulate that. And it's going to be a new question for the regulators. And I think they're not going to be touched by the current operators, because it's going to be kind of decentralized, autonomous gaming companies or something like that.
Very good. And talking about challenges, you already mentioned not only the regulator, also the cost of it. Any other additional challenges the two of you might see in the industry right now?
So just to add on what he was saying, one, it's that regulation is moving on legacy. So we have to probably, instead of saying, we're going to decentralize everything, when regulation comes in, well, I mean, you cannot really decentralize. So, for example, in this case, having a centralized exchange, whereby they will check when you send back to the end user the same UBO, it is going to be needed. Second, probably, problem that we're going to have is scalability. When we keep on adding more layers and smart contracts, we're adding always more cost. There's quite a few famous chains that promised a lot of scalability, but when it comes to proper throughput, when it comes under load, then the system goes down. So probably the technology itself about which chains will take over, it's still very early. It's still a work in progress. So the technology and how to combine regulation with the real world, blockchain world. I think we're not going to have what everyone thinks. We're going to go completely decentralized. I think we're going to have some decentralized elements within the regulated world. I think basically operating in the regulated world, I hate to say it, that we have to provide the technology around regulation. Regulation is not going to work around us.
That's right. No, spot on. And I believe we have a 4 o'clock main stage session on this. like should we regulate or should we not regulate decentralized finance, which is quite a big topic right now. No, thank you so much. This was super insightful. One thing that blew me away is that when you look at the data, in 2020, over $54 billion were spent with gaming industry. And if you think about it, this is just for fun and an expense. And now with the whole notion of crypto and fiat and ownership of the assets and NFTs and the actual coin, people are seeing it more like an investment. So it's a big mindset shift between here's an expense versus I'm going to make some profits and I'm going to make a living and earn a living about it. So talk to us more about the pay to earn concept in gamification and how do you see this explode and take off as the metaverse and Web3 is expanding?
Actually, like what I like and I see potential in the pay-to-earn kind of, let's say, ecosystem or industry, then they have these guilds on the blockchain, let's say. Like I was pretty new to this concept, but like the main idea is very simple. They have like a number of people who are professional gamers who play video games online, and then they earn the items or in-game money, and then they initially they even share their items between each other or in the games, so we can earn even more new items, new in-game money, and so on. And then they, as a guild, as a cooperative, they're selling these assets to like other players who don't want to play so long to get, let's say, some to a higher level or so on. Because in the past we used to have like the markets for example, for Runescape Gold and so on. So it's more or less the same, just getting more professional. Then people cooperate to earn the in-game items or money and then sell it on the market. So when I perceive it as a play to earn, because you're playing to actually get the product or get the asset in the game, and you are selling it as a team and it gets professional. I do understand this one. For other things, I think it's more or less like a promotion, or more or less like air miles. When you're just playing a game and you're getting some scores or points, I don't think it's straightforward play to earn, because what you're earning is more like air miles, is just a promotion or a discount just to get you intact. But like when you think about that concept of guilds who are like cooperating people independently from the game or game providers, game developers, to earn their in-game money or items and sell them on the market professionally, that's what I think can be called as play to earn, which has a potential for the future.
I think I'm really reflecting what he was saying. Some of the games out there are just finding an excuse to have a use case, another use case for utilization of play to earn. But there are some use cases out there which are very genuine, and this gives more credibility to having use cases in blockchain. I think having use cases, because you mentioned people are buying also the crypto now even as an investment because they want to keep it. But I think what will make the difference, and for crypto versus fiat, if you want to go there, it's always going to be use case, use case, use case. That's why we're putting all of our effort into the B2B, into empowering merchants, into empowering gaming companies to be able to accept cryptocurrencies. Because once the use case is there, you get more transactions, you can charge per transaction, then there is the real economy under which it is based on. I think too much has been based on speculation and capital appreciation, where people have made money through that. But now we're finding staking, farming, and the traditional elements of finance, where we start bringing them into the crypto world. That's why we're having something that is really working in its own ecosystem, not chasing the financial world.
Very, very great points, and thank you so much for your insights. As we try to wrap up our panel, I would like to ask you about your final comments for anything related to this space, or as a second follow-up question on that, where do you see this issue in 5 years or 10 years from now?
So I think now we will see the stage when like more and more gaming operators will start to accept digital currencies in one way or another. Is it going to just be through like a number of wallets who are accepting digital currency indirectly and then letting people to pay in or pay out from the operators, or them accepting the digital currencies directly? And it's going to be probably for next 5 years, because there's still like a lot of especially legal issues to solve, but I think the regulation will adopt to that, because it's actually good for business and it's good for tax collection and so on. But I think the next stage and biggest stage will be when the gaming will also move to decentralized gaming, Now we call it GameFi and so on, but like it's just, it should be the game because it's decentralized gaming. And I think it's going to be a big thing, but it's going to be probably big only in 15 or 20 years when we have like the computing power big enough on the blockchain to process a number of transactions we need even to play, just a one hand of poker to do that.
I think, 5 years is a long time for this industry, but probably as the colleague mentioned, with the regulation will come into space, and within 5 to 10 years, probably there is going to be a much more conglomeration of industry, a much more stability in the market, whereby instead of us having to offer the gaming company a solution for fiat and crypto, most gaming companies by that stage will be happy to accept the digital assets themselves. They would be happy to own on their balance sheets digital assets, whereby they don't have to come to us to say, hey, I want to accept crypto from that guy, but I don't want to touch it in the first place. I only want to touch fiat, which is what we're doing now. I think at that stage, they will be happy to, you work for KPMG.
That's right.
Now it's very hard to put crypto on your balance sheet, because how do you account it? There's speculation, capital appreciation. But by that stage, things would have been a bit more stabilized. There would be more ways how we can stabilize the price and account for it as well on balance sheet. And most operators will be willing to even operate completely on the digital sphere, because they will not have to stay going out at the end of the year to go into the fiat world. I think that's probably a good assumption for the next 5 years.
Super valid points. And actually, coming from a Big Four experience where I mainly deal with institutionalized clients who are super concerned with high risk, very cautious. They came into the industry very late. But what we see is they are investing big, but they also expect guarantees, right? So they're all into the trust factor, making sure that their partners are having a super clean AML and KYC process. But once they're in, they're all in. So the things that we see as a consultants for this industry is the fact that not having enough regulation, not having enough guidance, it is very hard to do an audit. It is very hard to do an audit attestation. So we are really a bit in the foggy area until the regulations are catching up. But we leverage a lot of the infrastructure currently in existence. So what I see is that really anything in the decentralized finance world, from a business perspective, they operate like any other company. So 95% of their needs is identical with any other company in the regular business needs space. The digitalization piece of it, the interaction, the touch point, the experience, the value add, the mindset of what you get out of the business is slightly different. But to lead a business and grow a business in this space, it's not hugely different than what we have done so far. It's just a different world.
I think most companies are afraid to screw up. And no one wants to get fined by the regulator, have their name out there that they are the company not to go to. So I think once regulation also catches up, the technology catches up, the crypto industry matures a bit more, everyone wants to make as much money as they can within the gaming sphere, let's face it. So I think once things start to have a bit more clarity, I think that is where everyone will start knocking on our doors instead of us knocking on their doors to get business.
Yeah, and what I see is a lot of lack of education in the space. So this digital upscaling for everybody, I think, is crucial, because the more you educate people and to make the right decision and to see the value of the technology and the benefits, the more people will do the right choice, ultimately. It was really a pleasure having this panel with you. Really nice to meet you, and thank you so much for your time, and looking forward to a lot more future collaboration with you.
Thank you.
Thank you.